Okay, so here's where we're at. We're right in the middle of meme central. We're right in the middle of meme mindshare. Right? Memes have the complete domination of the thought process on Twitter right now. But the markets are set up in a really, really nice way. Right? So the higher time frames on BTC, we've been discussing this for a long time on stream in terms of the way that the markets are setting up on the higher time frame perspective. And really, everything is looking in a good position for us. Now, we're not going to get too carried away. Maybe we are during the course of this video, but I think there's a lot of positives to take from this. And we'll start off, first of all, with MSTR. We'll start off with MicroStrategy because this thing had a monstrous weekly close. Okay, this is 7 months in the range. This is BTC, just in TradFi. And we had a huge 20% weekly candle with breakout at the top side of the range. Everything looks great on the MicroStrategy perspective. What we're doing here is we got the RSI reset, we got the AO coming back down towards that 0 level, and we're getting that fresh rotation back out. Now, of course, MicroStrategy back under 184 would be a problem for us, but as it stands, this looks like a significant 7-month breakout to the upside. The comparison, quite obviously through here, is that BTC will do a similar move. Okay, so BTC to do a similar move to the upside that we will achieve through here. And if we put these markets side by side here, we can see that essentially this 7-month correction here, 7-month correction consolidation, chop of doom, right? This area here is the one that we're now looking at anticipating the upside break on. And everything really looks in a good position for us to achieve that on the BTC side of things. Sure, might get some lower time frame fuckery, might have had that today, given that everybody is now really aligned with the assumption that this will follow MSTRs to the upside. But what we have here is a potentially very attractive looking BTC setup, or at least something that gives us the hope that we might finally see the end of this period of time that has caused us so much frustration and potentially great financial loss at the same time. Anything that starts trading above 70,000, we know is going to be a positive situation for us. If we get anything like the MSTR candle, then we're going to be looking at basically a close of, around 84,000 would ideally be where I would like to see us go. In terms of overall target, I don't think 100K is high enough. I don't think after 7 months of consolidating like this, your target should be 100,000. I don't think it should be anywhere short of 100,000. I think it should be past that number. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this is going to be a positive Q4, going to lead us nicely into the winter months and is going to, be induced as well in that Santa rally moment. And hopefully everything is positively green. So BTC setting itself up really, really nicely on the higher timeframes. But like I said, the majority of the thought process right now is around the meme side of things. So we see that, memes across different chains, whether or not it be, Sol, whether or not it be operating on runes at the moment on BTC. But there is a kind of a really dominant mind share at the moment that's taking place around memes. And some of the memes in this list, even when I talk about them now, I feel like a boomer talking about some of them. And historically, this used to be things like SHIB and Doge. They were very much kind of like the boomer interest points when we had PEPE and WIF and kind of that creation. And arguably now you could put PEPE and WIF into kind of the boomer meme category because we've had this whole new explosion of communities and cultures operating around different meme coins that may largely appear entirely more relevant to us and yield better upside. We're yet to see. But we're going to start off with those two boomer references. WIF is in a really nice place. This market here is the very simple breakout. We've got RSI in a position of strength that it hasn't been in since April. On the weekly, we've got the 3-day RSI doing exactly the same, the highest level that we've achieved since April. And so, obviously the chart is looking in a pretty good position through here. Now, on the mid-time frames, we're potentially starting to get some weakness as we trade up towards the 280 region. There's potentially the slowdown here on the RSI. But again, I think this is largely going to be dependent now on the BTC move. So today, Sunday, we've seen some corrections in the market. We've seen the markets move to the downside, take out some of that kind of, weekend action on the long side. We had a relatively decent day yesterday, but still feels as though the market is basically sitting there waiting for where BTC is going to go. So I think WIF is something that's in a very, very nice point overall. And then I think PEPE is also the same. I think PEPE is in a position where From a 3-day perspective, back down at this 50 RSI level after breaking clearly through on the bullish side. The weekly being back above the 50 level and coming back down for the retest, and the daily sitting comfortably above this level as well. Again, another market that I think is just waiting for the direction on BTC, and if BTC makes the move, then I think that these markets are simply going to follow suit. Now we'll take a look at ETH quickly and SOL. So ETH through here is probably one of the weaker markets in terms of its reaction and also its technicals. Right, so the technical side of things from an ETH perspective, while I'm talking to you about like the RSI 50 level being a positive bullish catalyst for PEPE and WIF, it's actually probably the opposite for ETH through here. So ETH has actually got the underside 50 RSI reset here, right, which is typically a bearish setup and one that we don't like to see. And so we can see that situation on ETH through here. And again, the 3-day is also slightly concerning for me because I still believe that this has the potential to make that 3-day bullish divergence here. And what we'd actually end up getting then is just price action that does this. And that, I think, would be a bottom situation. We'd probably end up like channeling this like this, and that would be it. Now, the reason for that is because I think we have the potential to do this on the awesome oscillator. So I think this has the potential to trade here. And if it does that, then I suspect this is probably going to be a bottom for it around this zone here. And then that movement to the upside, hopefully. Unless we're going to see some huge, huge crypto dynamic shift. That's where I like to see us. So ETH is probably the one that, from my perspective, if you're looking at hedging positions, if you're looking at positions that you feel as though, you know, kind of you might be up nicely on, or you're kind of concerned you don't want to close your positions out, whatever it might be, I think that ETH is probably, for me right now, the natural hedge market. That's the market that feels as though it kind of has the best opportunity to still be short on because the technicals are there to say it's a short still. Okay, so that's one of the things that I would kind of be looking at on that side of things. If you are either bearish, I think ETH is a better short. If you're looking at hedging, it's probably still a better short than BTC is through this region, especially, again, given the reaction of MSTR. And then we've got SOL. Now, SOL's correction chop, whatever you want to call it, is a little bit easier to handle. The fluctuations in terms of percentage moved, a little bit more vicious. But actually, I think that this is still doing an exceptionally good job, especially on the higher time frames like the weekly, of maintaining this 135 weekly zone here, which is basically anything below 135 seems to be a very strong reaction point for SOL. I still think that SOL is one of the best high liquidity markets that you can be involved with in terms of potential upside. For me, this is still one of the strongest higher time frame setups we have with one of the best consolidation patches. RSI in a really good spot. AO has done the negative cross. Therefore, we're hoping for this bullish crossover. And when we get those, they tend to be very significant. And we tend to get very significant pushes on that side of things. And obviously, if BTC goes, then SOL's going to go, and we're going to be having a good time again. So from my perspective right now, in terms of this 10-minute market update, I think that the market looks really, really strong. I think that's buoyed by the fact that you've got indexes that are at all-time highs. You've got S&P that's at all-time highs. You've got stocks that have a lot of room to go. You've got markets like NVIDIA and AMD breaking out of big consolidation regions as well. If we want the closest association to crypto, we've got MSTR breaking out and doing that ridiculous 20% weekly candle. We've got markets in the crypto side of things that are also set up exceptionally well. We've come to a period of time where we look back at these last 7 months and we say, is it really that the price action has been super bearish? BTC, right? Alts maybe more so. But on BTC, has the price action been really that bearish? Or is it the fact that actually we're involved in the lower time frame day-to-day monitoring of price, and therefore those movements in price are way more impactful to us? And to me, that's what it feels like. It feels as though actually technically, from a higher time frame perspective, like the BTC chart here, when you go to a monthly, is this bearish price action? You would say absolutely not. This looks absolutely fine in terms of price action. Even if this breakout isn't to come now, you still would say that this looks absolutely fine as upside price action. So for me, this week is really important. I think we have the potential to make that breakout. I think we have the potential to make that move to the upside. And obviously, if that happens, it's going to be a period of time where you're going to want to be active. You're going to want to be trading, because this period of time is usually the ones that makes up for the losses. Of course, you need to make sure that you are living through good risk management principles and you're doing the right things through those patches. But because the market tends to favor the upside, and when we start moving, it tends to be easier on that side, it should hopefully be a very good patch and a very fruitful patch for us. So say a little prayer for a BTC breakout.